very warm welcome to this Brexit and Standards event hosted by BSI.
A single standard being adopted internationally still remains the goal of most people. If you talk to manufacturers, they support that unanimously. And I think we have the government in the right place with that now going forwards, which is good. So whatever this new partnership looks like with the EU, maintaining our position on those standards bodies is seen as absolutely critical.
I think BSI needs to be working with international standards authorities to ensure that our standards can be agreed across whatever country UK trade is going into. UK government needs to be facilitating that, so they need to be opening doors for people like BSI.
Business in the UK wants to influence the content of those standards. They want to do the job themselves, they want to do it in the way that brings them the maximum benefit, and fundamentally they want to do it once. Our consumers very much want, and with their very limited resources, need to work in only one standards developing process. Post-Brexit, BSI will continue to provide that standards development publishing framework that all our stakeholders need for them to access markets around the world. We need to do our job as the UK's national standards body, including continuing our memberships of the European standards organisations. A Brexit working group was formed in Sen and Senelec, and we understand that that group has accepted the separation of our case from the political argument. We don't need to wait for a political outcome to make a decision on the standards system, because it's a stakeholder-driven bottom-up process. So it's a very positive message I can bring you this morning. We're very confident that we're going to get what we're looking for, that you wanted us to achieve in the BSI position.
We are conveners and secretariats within our organisation in Europe in those standards. That gives us the opportunity to influence those standards and therefore the regulatory areas in the future.
For businesses, being standard makers in the UK is a good thing. There's a line of sight into and through the industry bodies on the drafting and development of those standards, and many of you in the room today we've already heard from are coming from those industry bodies. That's an important role that you play.
There are huge opportunities actually to use our strength in international standards making to support and take a very strong position in trade negotiations.
What is the relationship between regulations, conformity assessment and standards? And actually trade deals typically don't include that much about standards because it's a voluntary system.
If we start to recognise different standards as meeting UK regulatory requirements, how on earth is a trading standards professional who has got the certainty at the moment of a BSEN standard and one standard to look at and say it complies with this, going to handle standards from potentially anywhere in the world?
Coming back to what we would be saying to national government is, first of all, don't place standards as a pawn on the table when it comes to deals, mainly because we would question whether enforcement is ready to have conflicting standards.
I think it's been a really fascinating morning. Great speakers and a really good mix of stakeholders represented and some fascinating questions. I think we're just at a time when people's appreciation of the implications of Brexit are becoming clearer, albeit still with many questions to be answered. So there was a really good quality of discussion today, and I'm sure everybody's taken a lot away from it.
We want to maximise the opportunity that our strength in standards brings to the UK post-Brexit. We've got overwhelming support for our Brexit position. UK government policy clearly supports that. There are very positive developments within Sen and Senelec. We need to keep the pressure up, but now we need to look to the future.